So let's sum up what I think about the results. So we have this media narrative here. Clinton managed to squeak through a tough win after tough win by dominating the older black vote. And here's my smartass response. Yeah. They're so old that they're dead. And of course the media says, what? Let's continue with my smartass response. Hillary Clinton has won the primary by dominating the dead black people vote. Let's cut to Sanders here. He's having a press conference. The media chimes in. Sir, what could you have done to better appeal to the African American zombie vote? Sanders. Well, I still got a foot in the grave, I guess. But I don't think anybody was expecting the zombie apocalypse to be overly black. And I wish I could deliver that in a better, deadpan Brooklyn Jew voice. That would be ideal. But anyways, that's what we got going on here. Deal with it. Sorry. It's clear as day. Okay? Deal with it. See, I'll link this Slate article here about, I won't like the Slate article because it's, you can look this up in Wikipedia. It's the 1960 Nixon versus JFK election. It's widely understood that JFK did at least some cheating. The part that's disputed is whether the cheating was enough to swing the election or whether it wasn't. The big spot that everyone agrees that the ballot box stuffing occurred was in Cook County. Now let's take a look at the Illinois results here. Okay. We have Clinton, 51%, Sanders, 49%. It's about a 35,000 vote difference overall, the whole state. Now we look just at Cook County. 54% for Clinton and 46% for Sanders. A difference of about 93,000 votes. And if you look at the rest of Illinois, Sanders actually has 53%, whereas Clinton has 47%. A difference of about 58,000 votes. Okay? So she won Cook County by about 93,000 votes, but lost the rest of the state by about 58,000 votes, thereby winning the state overall by 35,000 votes. But Cook County is notorious as a state that is stolen. As a county that is rigged. Okay, it's the whole big daily machine, the whole thing, right? This is lore. If you're into politics, you know all this stuff. The corrupt daily machine. And how that interacts with, this is the machine that Rahm Emanuel is currently in charge of, the former chief of staff for Barack Obama, who was a senator from Chicago, very much tied in with the daily machine, and Hillary herself is from Chicago as well. So, this all ties together. If you're looking at these results and you don't see that it's obvious, I don't know what to tell you. And you can see the same thing if you go to Miami. I don't think she might have stuffed some ballots in Cleveland or something, but I don't think it changed the overall result much. But Illinois specifically, I think that he probably did win Illinois. And he probably did win Illinois by, see, that's the rest of Illinois. I'm only looking at one county. There were no other counties that were involved with the big blue machine, right? So, I can read the polls. I can read them right. But ultimately, you have to take these sorts of things into consideration as well. If I'm going to fault myself, I should maybe fault myself for not realizing it. But looking forward, that's the takeaway is that I don't know. I take it that Sanders is not a mathematical expert, and I take it that anybody on his team either doesn't know how to read the numbers or doesn't understand them. I think Sanders should understand whatever he chooses to do from this point forward. And I know he said he wants to. He thinks it's important that the whole country gets to vote. I agree with him. Um, it's ridiculous to have the Democratic nominee determined by the Bible Belt. I said that at the beginning. It's absurd. But whatever he decides to do, he should realize that he's not fighting a fair fight. He's not fighting a fair fight. Okay. And we saw that the operatives, like I say, she screwed up in Ohio. She put too many ballots in. She screwed up there, and it really tipped it off. It doesn't make sense to think that he would win, or that she would win in Ohio by more than she won in North Carolina. If anything, she may have forgot to rig North Carolina as well, right? So I mean, this is a shoddy job, but what it demonstrates is that the party is willing to adjust to what it sees on the ground, and if it sees evidence of higher turnout, then it's going to stuff more ballots. It's not. I mean, that's really the more serious takeaway from what happened on Wednesday or Tuesday, sorry, is that whatever. I mean, you might think that if he gets turnout up really big, the party bosses will look and they'll say, hey, look, we have to rig this to win it, etc. And they might, change their mind a little bit. They might look at polling results of, against the Republican candidates and all these sorts of things. That's not what they're doing. What they're doing is stuffing even more ballots to win even bigger. Okay. I think that they read the polls wrong here again. I think they were expecting to win by a more comfortable margin in Illinois due to the demographics. They thought they would have a harder time in Ohio due to the demographics. So they stuffed less in Illinois and more in Ohio, thinking that they would have to stuff more in Ohio to make up the difference. And you can see that, right? So this whole game that I'm playing of looking at polls and trying to figure out what they say and what it's being dramatically affected by the reality that this isn't a fair contest, right? So it's all the cognitive dissonance. Am I wasting my time? Of course I am. I knew the whole time I was wasting my time. But one of the things that Bernie's doing right now is he's leaving a data trail. And if he can put enough of a data trail out there to make it obvious enough, and enough people like me look at it and say, holy shit, this is obvious, maybe it will create enough disillusionment with the Democratic Party to break this two-party system up. And I've said this a few times as well, if Bernie has any goal in this cycle, in the face of what is obviously a rigged primary process, it should be to try to break the system up. I'm not sure he agrees with me. He might disagree. But if he's seeing things the same way I am, even a little bit, that's what he should be putting in front of himself as a reasonable goal. I just want to add that I've done the same thing with Michigan results regarding Wayne County, which is another county that has a notorious Democratic Party machine. a notorious corrupt Democratic Party machine. Statewide, it looks like Sanders won by about 18,000 votes. In Wayne County, Clinton won by almost 60,000 votes. In the rest of Michigan, Sanders won by about 77,000 votes. A little more than that. So, what I think happened was I think that she actually probably did rig the results in Wayne County by, about 50,000 votes or so. Thinking that that would be enough to hover with the check mark. But she got really overwhelmed in the rest of the state. You'll note that difference well, it seems like they got a little more out there. I don't know. I'm at this point right now. I just nearly started making things up. I stopped myself. But I mean, I'm not making things up. I'm looking at things and I'm analyzing them. But I was just starting to think, well, maybe, but I mean, I'm not going to do that, right? I'll do that in my mind, but not when I'm recording something. But I mean, you can see that it's the same basic issue. It's just that he happened to overwhelm her in Michigan. I'm not going to do this with the other counties. Like if you look, I pointed this out before. He won Miami by something like 70, or was it like 90,000 votes? I think it was, which is absurd, probably. But I mean, it wouldn't have mattered much, right? And again, she might have stuffed some ballots in Cleveland or something, but it just exaggerated it. I suspect that if you look at like some numbers in Kansas City or something, you'll see the same thing, right? Regarding Missouri, so maybe St. Louis. This is what's happening. You can point out the Cook County part. That's the historical basis. And then you look at the Wayne County results, and they are suspicious, and you see this pattern develop, and you draw conclusions, right? I don't. I mean, this is an implicit, a deductive. I'm not going to use the word proof, but it's a demonstration that the results are funny, and that some investigation would be prudent if the Democratic Party wished to maintain its own legitimacy. I think the best that anyone could ever hope for is an internal investigation. They'll send, Debbie Wasserman Schultz out to do a. You get what I'm saying, right? What would an independent investigation be? Tell a lot of the Republicans and take a look at it. Are they even going to give a fuck, right? So I mean, it's what I'm saying is my analysis of the numbers is that they are beyond suspicious, and that if they want to maintain their legitimacy, they should. I mean, I'm not suggesting it's an accident, right? So I mean, I'm struggling for a way to present this that's beyond the simple accusation, but perhaps that is escaping me for a good reason. It's obvious. Okay, so I'm now uploading yesterday's vlog, which is a positive. That means I'm finally caught up. As I mentioned a few times when I'm doing this, I might be typing something, or there's a few points where I'm like ranting and waiting for something to go. But for the most part, I've been editing, exporting, and uploading, and just doing that is time-consuming enough, kind of thing. When the bigger ones go, like this is a bigger vlog. This is a 40-minute vlog. It's been like, okay, I do that and I'll go get something to eat, and by the time I get back, it's done, sort of thing, right? So, this is like I mean, it took literally a week. Um, yeah. Um, but it was in the end what 1, 2, 3, a little more than 3 weeks worth of work. 1, 2, 3, yeah, so a little more than three weeks worth of vlogs. It took a week to get through, and it wasn't quite as time efficient as it could be. So that's three vlogs plus, on average it's 5 or 6 cuts a day. So, like I say, it was mostly just processing. I probably could have got it done a lot faster if I could have processed it faster. But anyways, I'm caught up. Next thing to do is going to be to wipe down this page here, and I should be able to keep it wiped down this time. As I've mentioned a few times, I think my primary run or primary analysis is over. It's a clear conclusion. The process is rigged. It's not clear who knows what or why or what people's motives are at this point anymore. But the party has chosen their nominee, whether the people like it or not. And that's how it's going to be. If Sanders wants to create problems for the party, and that's that's the right language, right? Then we'll see how he goes about that. Don't get me wrong, I'm on his side. I am not on the side of the Democratic Party, but it's clear that they've picked their nominee, and it's going to be, as I pointed out in another comment, even if he can get massive levels of turnout up, it just seems like they're going to rig it more. The more people he gets out, the more ballots they'll stuff. So it's it doesn't seem like there's a discussion here or or a potential to have a discourse or sway debate. This is already decided, and it's the process of confirming the decision that was made at some point in the past. Probably at some point in, I don't want to say it's the distant past because it's obviously not the distant past, but the not so recent past, anyways. So yeah, wipe that down, and then I can get into the clearing off the stuff for the election cycle finally. Okay. I should finally get that started seriously before I crash in the morning. I mentioned I needed to do a compost run. The weather's not cooperating with me, so it looks like that probably won't be until either Tuesday morning or maybe even Wednesday morning. We'll see. I was thinking about doing it this morning, but it's not. It's the wind. It's not going to be that cold, but if I'm dealing with a -10 or -15 wind chill, then it's not so fun to walk for an hour in. But it will be in the next few days. So, in fact, even if I can even get this done and then do that, that might be ideal. So, I'm over the hump. This task is complete, and I'm moving forward. Okay, so it does seem like I have now wiped down all of the election rambling off of the front of the page. There's going to be a few more things that are sitting there for a little bit until they come up. It's weird issues with character limits and stuff. Your private videos have a smaller character limit than your public ones, so I can't paste it there before it's just yet another annoying YouTube quirk, right? It's just this long line of nonsense regarding that. But what that means is that this whole concept of what I was doing is coming to an end. The point of this was to stop doing that. The YouTube system, like I noticed today that like you don't even get notifications on replies anymore. Okay, they've completely broken it. So um, I'm not wasting my time, um, and I'm going to focus on other sorts of things. There will still be mini reacts, but it'll be just purely like in a verbal form. And I'll be waiting until my site comes up before I start posting any more writing. That said, YouTube was kind of while it was kind of a perfect tool for somebody like me to use as a marketing vector. I can only hope that I made the best use of it that I could while I could. It's broken now. I don't expect anything to come back to replace it. But I mean, I'm going to be using that platform a lot less because it's a lot less useful to me. It will no doubt mostly be related to musical comments and mostly outside of the mainstream. So if you're looking for my comments on YouTube in the future, it'll be almost entirely relegated to obscure music, so that's sort of 5e. And I'll make sure that the rest of my ranting is easy enough to find. But this is closing down the front page. I'm also closing down. I'm currently exporting splices from yesterday. Obviously, I'm not done yet. Well, I mean, I say yesterday. It's the first part of today's vlog. So that's what that is. Obviously, I can't finish it because the vlog's not done yet, but I can take those little parts out, and I do hope to have that finished before I go to bed. Meaning that when I wake up, this is all done, and I can move on to the next part. So, I guess I lost an extra day, but it means that I'm done, like until, presuming that this is a 2-day, and it does seem like it's going to be a 2-day vlog. That'll take me up to the 28th. So, vlogging about vlogging is over. I'll be back to archiving, and this will probably be the end of the vlog. So it's the end of that. Sorry, actually, one of the things I wanted to point out was that I'm done with the election stuff. Elections are interesting to me from multiple perspectives. I like the policy analysis, I like the data analysis, all these sorts of things. I think that I've comprehensively determined in my own mind, if not in yours, that this is not a contestable nomination for the Democratic Party, that the party has in fact chosen their nominee, that it is not particularly interested in what it is that the voters have to say, and that the issue is not really up for debate. Again, it's not clear if Sanders realizes that, but I don't see any particular use in analyzing polls that I don't think are objective. I've pointed this out a few times. Does Hillary Clinton have the resources to commission a poll, have it put in a newspaper, and have it be bullshit, and have it get out? Sure. Will everybody at every stage of it know that it's bullshit? Yeah. And will anything be done to stop it? No. Because it's the nature of a big corrupt political machine. That's how this works, okay? the Republicans have their own network, okay, and they do that like that, okay. Um, but that being said, I don't see the same kinds of inconsistencies on the Republican side, with the exception of a couple of polls that have put Cruz up. There was one released today within Utah. Um, on the one hand, Utah is weird. Cruz could very well win Utah. On the other hand, this idea that Trump's got 10%. This goes back to what I'm saying. This is an attempt by the bank to define the narrative. Not we're going to listen to what you say, but we're going to do it. You're going to do what you say. You're going to do what we tell you, rather than we're going to do what you tell us, right? So that hasn't worked out for them so far. Not really any reason to think it'll work out for them again. But they may be taking the page from the Democratic side and saying, we've had enough of this. We're going to rig it from here. So I also have to put that caveat in, right? I'm telling you that I've concluded that the Democratic nominee is rigged, and then I'm saying, Cruz is an idiot for thinking that he can win. Well, if they rig it, then he might win, right? He might not have any real chance of winning in Connecticut, but a couple of 100,000 stuffed ballots, that's going to change the race, right? So, and if you do start seeing Cruz win, if you see Ted Cruz win in New York, or in Connecticut or Rhode Island, or even in Pennsylvania, there's some problems in the process. Short of somebody, filming, Trump at a KKK rally, there's not really a lot that's going to allow, Ted Cruz to win in these states. All right, so. That might be what's happening there too. Who knows? I'm not really that interested. What I was interested in was whether or not Sanders could win. Sanders was a actually interesting candidate with some actually interesting proposals. I think he might be winning in terms of the actual vote. No, he wouldn't. There were too many southern states. He would not be actually flat out winning. I think he might have won Illinois. I think he might have won Massachusetts. And because it looks like she forgot to rig North Carolina. And we can go state by state, right? He might have won Missouri. If you take these ballot boxes out, right? He probably lost Ohio anyways. But it doesn't seem worthwhile to me to follow, I'm sure I'll follow it, but it doesn't make sense to me to analyze what is appearing to me to be not a fair election. And look through my videos, I've made the case. So if you were following my my analysis on my Google Plus page, that will be ending. There will not be any more there. I've actually cleared it off, and I'm making an effort to get it all off before I go to sleep. And it's just there won't be anything else there. It's been shut down. So this is the end of that. Back to archiving full time tomorrow, and hopefully back to the music by the end of the month.